Good evening. My name is Mark Boroff, Forest Park resident and longtime attendee at the Village Council meetings. Of particular note tonight, I'm looking at the new business items F and G, the outdoor flag policy, which I'm in favor of, and then G, the installation of the flag pole adjacent to the existing pole, which I'm expressing my displeasure seeing that, as is on the new business item. Judging by my attendance at the past 4 years of meetings, I recall that that item was previously tabled because we didn't have an assessment of the cost for that. And so I'm just trying to understand how that's showing up on the agenda item tonight. So particularly considering the new positions that all the commissioners are holding, I'd be looking for that to a little bit more consideration on the cost and maybe tabling that till another meeting. Thank you.
All right, Commissioners, next item is a motion to adopt a village outdoor flag policy. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Miller-Govan. Discussion?
Sure.
Commissioner Nero.
Thank you. So I guess I need some educating on this. I was reading through the resolution and I saw the term commemorative flag. I get what that means. So is this kind of like one with the other? So you have to have what's wrong with the old policy, I guess is what I'm concerned, or lack thereof.
We don't really have a policy.
Okay.
That's kind of the thing, Commissioner. And we're in an age where, you've been here long enough to see the way that, like in recent years, we've adopted a couple of flag raising ceremonies, right? Right now, we have 5 flags on the pole.
That's right.
Generally, the protocol is not to have 5 flags on the pole, 3 flags. But representation does matter. We live in an age where different groups, want to see government periodically reflect them, celebrate their experiences. A prime example would be the Juneteenth flag. That's been somewhat personal for me in my time in the village. We also have what's called a pride flag flying right now. We're a member of Cook County, right? I would like to see us actually fly a Cook County flag. But generally, we fly the American flag, the state of Illinois flag, and the Village of Forest Park flag. And so, we could get to a point where, 10 years, 12 years down the line, a different council, may be dealing with a different request for a flag. And so we wanted to adopt a policy as a starting point. And it kind of complements the next agenda item. But we wanted to have a policy on hand. And if you have any suggestions on how to make it better, we're open to those.
And then in the policy, it says that the flagpoles are not intended to serve as a form of free expression of the public, but rather for the display of federal, state, and village flags, and any commemorative flag. So any commemorative flag would be anything but that. Is that right?
I don't see a definition for commemorative. Well,
It's in there. I just didn't understand it. I was trying to be difficult. I just don't understand.
No, I get it. Commemorative flag, it, commemorates a symbol, right? A flag is nothing but a symbol, right? So this is a descriptor. I don't think we wanted to limit it to maybe national flags or, something symbolizing a country. So a commemorative flag commemorates an event, commemorates a cause. So it's a term, commemorative flag.
Thank you.
It provides for time periods and it provides for a process. Council, any further questions, discussion? Okay, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon-Rogovan,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, Commissioners, next item is a motion directing the Public Works Department to install an additional flagpole adjacent to the existing flagpole at Village Hall. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxham. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. It's been seconded by Commissioner Mellon Rogovan. Discussion?
My understanding, or I just want to clarify, there is a flag, we do have the flagpole? Okay, so it's already on hand.
So we have a flagpole that's been sitting in the Public Works Hall for some months now.
Okay.
At another time, we were about prepared to install it, but we actually never brought it for a formal vote of the council. In some questions, certain things have to be voted on, right?
Yep.
Not everything has to be voted on, but in this case, a flagpole, it can mean something to different people. It's not a huge expenditure. It's not necessarily entering into an agreement with another party, but we thought it made sense to actually just bring it to the council, right?
Right.
And like I said earlier, right now we have 5 flags flying on one pole. That's not ideal. I think that we're living in an age where, at some point, a community group might come to the council and ask for a flag to be displayed, or might come to the administrator and ask for a flag to be displayed. So here we have, a policy, but we also have the infrastructure, right? We can't just have 5 flags flying on one pole. And it's not uncommon for, municipal halls to have more than 1 flagpole. I think Oak Park has 2 or 3, and some of the other towns surrounding Forest Park have more than 1 flagpole.
I like the idea of having decorum as well. I think that multiple flagpoles give the idea of decorum, and because we will have the situation where we'll have flags at half-mast, and we want to be able to make sure that when flags go at half-mast, that they don't touch the ground. To be, a sense of reverence, but also being able to fly the flags correctly. And 2 flagpoles would be able to, because I think all flags deserve reverence. Thank you for clarifying that.
Sure. Commissioners, any questions? Great. Commissioner Maxim?
Yeah, so it looks like we paid $3,654 for the flagpole that we've had for a year now. I just want to have that out there for the record. Do we have an estimate, since it was asked, and I think it's a really valid question from Mark Burrow, what is it going to cost to install this? Sal, do you know, or Moses?
It's roughly $3,000.
Okay, because I have an email from our finance director from today saying it's going to be closer to 2,000.
No, the installer said at the very worst it'll be 3,200, but he definitely sees it under 3,000. What you're probably seeing is a quote from last year, which was the flagpole at 36 or 37, and then the additional labor's gone up a little bit, so that's why it's a little bit more.
Is that because of the hydro excavating versus hand digging?
Just general labor is going up, salaries.
So this is, weirdly, it's not, a ton of money that we're talking about, but it's sort of become behind the scenes a little bit of a contentious issue. So I want to talk about it a little more so we're real comfortable with spending money. So there was an email today between the finance director and Commissioner Vogt and me, and kind of talking about, Commissioner Vogt was asking about it being a non-essential expenditure, and it clearly is, right? Like, it is not essential to have a second flagpole. But I think there are some valid reasons to have it, such as what Commissioner Mellon Rogovan mentioned before. It's hard. It's hard, when we are cash strapped and can't fund our pensions to say, yeah, let's spend $2,000, or $3,000 or whatever, to install a new flagpole. But, our finance director also mentioned that we do this sometimes for non-essential things, like the holiday banners or, the pride banners, the American flag banners that we hang along Madison Street. I remember for the holiday ones, the commissioners, I think you were included, we had a long discussion through email, about like different designs that we liked, or if we wanted it to say Season's Greetings versus Merry Christmas, this whole kind of thing. So, we have approved of things like this in the past. We pay, for landscaping, we pay for a lot of things that aren't necessarily essential, but they do add pride or beautification to the village. So it's, it's not easy for me to say, yeah, let's, put in another flagpole that we really don't need. But I think we need to balance that with, having a way to express different, to hang different flags and express different things. But I would like to hear more from the other commissioners if you're interested in talking about it being a non-essential expense and how you feel about it.
Mayor?
Commissioner Nero.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying such, Commissioner Maxim, because I'm with you. I think because we every now and again do things like this that are non-essential, we lose sight of what's important. And those are some of the big things. And the little things add up, and they take away from doing some of the big things, like equipment, like our buildings that are falling apart, like, I don't know, I'll talk about it later, but, problems with rats. It's only $3,000 here, it's only $4,000 here. Quite frankly, we did a couple of things this week that are fairly ancillary with taxpayer money that I'm very disappointed about. Very disappointed about, because that's almost $6,000 that could be used for other things. It's not about my views, it's not about my stance, it's not about my preference one way or another. It's just about the oath I took to do what's right for the entire village of Forest Park. And part of that's being fiscally responsible. So you kick the door open, and I'm just gonna say it. I think these types of things, these types of expenditures, albeit nice, and in most cases beautify the neighborhood and all these wonderful things. Yeah, you do that when you got money to do it. You don't do it when you're strapped for cash with a 33% funded fire department pension fund. I mean, you don't do it. You save your money. You spend wisely. I'm just a little disappointed, that's all. I'm disappointed because I know most of us took an oath, and not took an oath, but we ran on ideas of fiscal responsibility and community outreach and these types of things. Okay, we spent hours talking about Season's Greetings on banners, which, we're getting a little off topic, versus Merry Christmas, because we were worried. But yet we have 70 banners that target just one particular group of folks in town. And there wasn't much discussion about that. So if we're talking about being fair and inclusive, then we should be that. We should be that. Across the board, be that. That's all.
Everything that we spend money on here, that's not, related to public safety, that's not related to, garbage removal, to snow removal, to pay employee costs, could arguably be non-essential, right? Landscaping, like you said earlier, banners, golf outings that we go to a lot less of. In the old days, I'm not particularly a golfer, but when I first became a council member, it was very common for all the commissioners to go to every golf outing, right? Those are easily $200 a person. There's expenses associated with it. There's trips to Springfield, there's trips to other meetings. These things add up. This council has kind of backed off a lot of those kinds of expenses, justifiably or not justifiably. In other areas, we're saving dollars by not having things like the Rib Fest this year, right? That would incur lots of overtime costs. But when we do have other festivals like, a Pride Festival or like a Hispanic Heritage Festival or anything else, these incur overtime, right, in some cases, or personnel hours. So we're talking about, $3,000. And a big part of what we do is, communicate. And having a flag is in a way, it's part of communications, right? It's displayed a symbol. And that symbol might be important to people at some point, or it might not be. But in this case, we're talking about installation of a pole that we already have in the village hall. In the Public Works yard. So I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote on this, and everyone can vote their conscience, and we're all going to be great friends after this, and we're all going to keep working together and do what's best for Forest Park. You have something else, Commissioner Miller? Go ahead.
Yeah. I hear what's been said, and I appreciate my colleagues' point of view. I think it's important for everybody to express what's on their mind. I do think there are things that we do as a village to make our village an attractive place to live and to show residents and potential residents that we are a beautiful, safe, welcoming village for everyone. The flagpole is going to show flags now and in the future that represent everyone in the village. And all of us can propose and represent flags that we all care about. Landscaping is for residents to move here and say this is a beautiful village. Things that we deem non-essential, real estate agents would say they are essential, things like that. So I wanted to say that things that we invest in as a council are important. I certainly think that bears keeping in mind, and the fact that the council has approved a flagpole expense should be kept in mind as well. But I respect everyone's point of view on this. Thanks.
I just would say,
I put out my point of view.
you did, no. I would just say that in all reality, if we boil it all down, there's probably one flag that unifies us. It's right here. So you need really only one pole to hang one flag, which represents everybody in the United States of America. Anything after that is gilding the lily.
Commissioners, is there any further discussion? All right.
I
Go ahead, Commissioner Maxon.
I don't know what I want to say. You wouldn't want to table it, would you? No? Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Maxim,
Nay.
Commissioner Nero,
Nope.
Commissioner Mellon Rogovin,
Yes.
Mayor
Aye.
Hoskins.
Yes. So the council has not adopted this motion. Moving on to the next item is a motion to approve a park district